Welcome, everybody, to Living on Purpose podcast. We're your hosts, James Hagler and Jason Wilson. Our guest today is Sheila Thelen, keynote speaker, president of Vestibular Training Services, and master-rated figure skating coach. She applies world-class vestibular training tools on how spinning affects the vestibular system and can improve the cognitive processes and balance.
Welcome, everybody. We're your hosts, Jason Wilson and James Hagler. Today we have Sheila Thelen. Welcome to the show, Sheila.
Hi, oh my gosh, thanks for having me. Thank you.
It's truly an honor. And this is not the first rodeo we have with you.
I'm a party in a box. I got invited back. It's kind of like SNL, man.
Yes, absolutely. We had to do this again because, so many things have happened over the past couple of years. You're just doing phenomenal things, not only in the world of sports, but in mental health and a lot of other different areas that we're going to talk about. How have you been?
Oh my gosh, it's been crazy and I'm so excited. But what I really am excited about is James came to work with me at Westside Barbell. And so he got on the gear and with stunning results. I just have to take a second about that. So
Yeah.
it's so fun when we can all talk about a shared experience, but I got to have James spin and it was epic.
It was definitely a lot of fun, and it was great, man. I really enjoyed myself. I can't wait to get back on it. And and I'm telling a lot of people about it. The funny thing about it, Sheila, is I was talking to one of my boxing buddies, and he'll be working with me with my boxing. And I was just telling him, I said, wow, this could help Dante Wilder. And once I showed it to him, and I showed him a couple of videos that you had, especially the one that really stands out is the military one when you had him spinning, and they were going crazy, and they had to come out of that, and that really, he took to that one. He called me right back. He was like, "Yo, James, you're right. That could help him." So it was really interesting.
It's so fun like to see our projects have expanded so much and our work with the military is stunning. Like I'm so honored to get to do so many of these projects. I just got back from Quantico. I got to work with the HQ at the Marine Corps. It was amazing. And then the next day I had Andrews Air Force Base, and it was just all these really cool opportunities that keep coming, and I'm so excited to be a part of them.
I know.
Wow.
I remember the last time that we had you on the show, you was trying to get these contracts, and now you have them. And now that's got to be great progress for you.
I know, like out, like always. Well, and I'm always lit up by nature, but man, I'm really lit these days. She's
Yeah.
passing pretty hard, so I love it.
That's awesome. So to give everybody some visual aid, you gave me a commercial to show. Let's roll tape.
My mother.
So Sheila, what's going on in this video? Explain to us what just happened.
It's so much spinning. So I come from the sport of figure skating. So when you really look at the gear, it's very figure skating like. And we have two systems. One is that fly system with the girl going crazy on the gear and she's not dizzy because we've trained it out of her. And then the other system you could see with the NBA guy who, by the way, I'm super short. Okay. Like I'm 4'10", but the dude is like 6'10". No wonder I look ridiculous in the video. But the rail system where you can kind of hold on and it's a little bit more balanced and a little easier for people, especially in the aging process. But really, what we're doing is we're working on your vestibular system. Okay. And so, weirdly, how everyone has learned balance their entire life has been like stand on one foot, stand on one foot, stand on one foot, slack line, stand on one foot. This is how you were always taught balance. And I'm taking it from your inner ear down. So your vestibular system is right inside your ears. And it's basically kind of like here's my eardrum that leads into this. They keep calling it three semicircular canals that then lead out to the cochlea. So, like, you'll see kids with like a cochlea implant that are deaf. But this vestibular system is your entire balance system, these three semicircular canals. And we talk about them all the time. So, I'm taking your balance from your ears down and then your feet up back to your ears. So I'm really kind of running it more neuro balance rather than just standing on your feet balance. So that vestibular system is tied to 25 major functions, but the four we talk about is it your balance, it's how fast your brain processes the information coming in from your eyes and your ears. It's also spatial, like spatial orientation, and that's why the kids talk about not being dizzy from our training tools. And the fourth big one is sleep. So everyone talks about after they work with me, holy cow, they got great sleep. And boy, is that such a key part of being a human. So that good balance, that good brain moving faster, more alert, quicker movements, knowing where you're at in space, and sleep. Wow, that's a lot of important pieces in an athlete, but an aging person, a kid with autism, a kid with ADHD, all of these pieces that I'm working with are really key to making people better.
I know because when I got off of it, I was very alert of everything that was going on. I mean, everything was real keen, you know, and I got great sleep that night too. So I was just fascinated by the whole thing. Jason, we got to get you on there, spin you around one time, man.
Absolutely.
You like it.
Okay. Awesome. So Sheila, we're going to backtrack a little bit. What was your childhood dream?
You know what? I was a kid from the suburbs. You know what I mean? Like, um, I'm a kid from the '70s. Like I don't know. I think I had kind of a weird family, so I was just happy to survive. Like, look, I made it another day. I don't know. Like, I don't know that I had really dreams because that wasn't really a concept sold to me by my parents. It's just kind of like nose to the grindstone, get work done. Every day is a process. I don't know. Like, I don't know that as a kid I had dreams other than I loved sports. I really loved figure skating and I really loved to spin and I liked competing. Even if I wasn't good at it, I still enjoyed it. So I was that kid like in last place that was still happy as a clam. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like, and I as I grew in the sport, my appreciation for the people and people around me, I think really changed my life. I got a lot of mentors from my sport outside my family.
Hmm.
Sheila, you say now, when I was there, you was just working with the MMA guys. You still working with those guys as well?
Yeah, I have a batch of Navy SEALs. Like it's been fun.
Tell us how that's going. How is that going?
So I have to tell you, it's been an honor. Like I keep going back to like when people first told me, "Oh, you should work with the military." Like I was telling Jason earlier, like that's harder than it sounds. Okay, like oh, go work with pro athletes. Okay, do you understand how hard it is to get in with those groups? Like they just don't. The military just doesn't let you work with their teams. You know what I mean? The pro athletes just don't let you walk in and just work with any of their athletes. It's just not how it works. It's a very protected community. And so any projects I get to do with pro sports or the military, boy, that's an honor. And it's so exciting to see them even find me. Like I had one of the DOD guys come train with me a couple weeks ago or a week ago. And came for 2 days and trained and used the gear and saw some of my projects and it was really fun and it's just an honor and and it's neat to see the outcomes because of course I'm obsessed with the outcomes, absolutely obsessed with the outcomes.
Well, that's what I wanted to, that's what I was asking you about as far as the MMA guys. Did any one of them do this before any of their matches? How was their results and their feedback as far
Well,
as that?
for sure everyone sleeps better balance, and I come back to the sleep one a lot because when I first started this I didn't really connect the sleep to begin with, and now it's a huge connector is the sleep, and that's time for your brain to clean itself and to calm down and to reset. So it really, everyone talks about the sleep, that after having worked with me, but the improved balance, that spidey senses, I also kind of say it's kind of like you got your shit together. You know what I mean? Like you just feel good. You feel like, you know what, I can do more. I feel good, and so those are the outcomes I keep getting all over. But the really cool one now is I'm working with a lot of ADHD boys. And oh my goodness, it's fascinating to see my ADHD boys. I have a whole batch of 12 to 14, 15-year-old boys that, here's the weird thing. So they all show up with their hands in their pockets. So they all walk in with their hands in their pockets. And they all walk in kind of like Muppets. Okay, like I keep talking about Muppets. These kids just kind of walk in and it looks like they're like heads on a string and I don't know. And they all wear like comfy shoes. They're all wearing slides and slippers and not even a structured shoe. And boy, to see the kids walk out of my training room 5, 7 minutes later with an alertness, ready for school, walking normally with like a normal gait. Okay, you can see their brains kick in. Um, it's super exciting.
So when it comes to mental health, Sheila, what kind of results have you seen on your clients?
So when we talk about mental health, it's such a big topic and it's so important. I'm excited about, there's some really great papers recently published between anxiety and lack of balance. So when you're not moving enough, you're not moving that head enough, and you're looking at a screen all day, like not a screen all day. Um, you your balance is off. You're not moving enough, and that creates a whole level of anxiety, especially in these school age kids that aren't moving and running and playing and rolling and flipping and twisting and being the kids that we were, like the broken wrist, the other broken ankle, like we've made the world soft and cushy and kids aren't moving enough. And so because of that, there's that anxiety level. So we talk about mental health and we talk about anxiety and we talk about stress. I was telling Jason earlier too, like I really try not to stress. You did that to yourself. Don't, like dial back the stress, dial back the screen time, add more activity, keep moving, especially keep that head moving, keep that vestibular moving with all that gel to move through your ears and your whole balance system. All of it needs to stay moving for your brain to feel healthy.
So, Sheila, tell me something. When like if you get knocked out, that would help. Will it help? Doing that training that you do with stimulator, would that help the fighter get bring come back a lot quicker than what he normally would do?
So I work with a lot of concussion people, and it's been, boy, it's a tough crowd. They're hard to schedule because they've had a brain injury. So as I talk about like scheduling with them is always tricky. But one of my favorite ones, you see it on a lot of my LinkedIn. I have a gentleman that I call Thor. Big dude, like 6'4", like 260, big beard, hair. He looks like Thor, and Thor in my videos, you can just keep seeing him progress and progress and do better and better. And he came to me with three pretty significant brain injuries, from a skiing accident and a car accident. And he ran into a board with his head, from axe throwing, that the board fell on him. And he talks about the whole process of improving in having worked with me and clearing that third head injury, that second head injury, coming back to that first head injury that was never really cleared. he really feels like we're fixing. And he's even talked about how his humor has come back. That he didn't realize he'd kind of lost his sense of humor, you
Right,
know.
right.
Yep, and he's also brought back, and he talks about he was at a wedding, and all the guys were standing in a circle, and they're all kind of talking smack, giving each other crap, and he loved that he could keep up with the conversation, where in the past he'd struggled, that as people were talking fast and people were slinging stuff, he couldn't keep up, he couldn't participate because he was always that 10 seconds behind, like he couldn't keep up with it. And so he was so excited that at the wedding, he was in there with the guys talking smack, and he felt like he had really gotten back a lot of pieces that he'd missed in his life. So all those.
That's a great thing. I know he must have been real excited when he was able to, once he realized that he was keeping up with the conversations and he was alert about everything that was going on around him. I know he would have to be really excited. Couldn't wait to run back and tell you.
I know he was so funny, but he also talks about like the ability, like in the early process of the concussion, he didn't know when to sleep. He didn't know when to eat. He didn't know what was going on. He was laying in bed, for 2, 3 months. Like the poor guy just couldn't get up, couldn't get moving. Gained 30 pounds in a month, like all of these pieces, like when do I eat? When do I go to sleep? Or having to drug himself to go to sleep, like, oh, and since, early on in the first 2 weeks of working with me, he was going to sleep on his own. He was getting up on his own. He was, being able to make better human choices, you know, just to kind of start that reset. And it's been an amazing process with my concussion group.
Nice, nice. Glad to hear it. Glad.
So Sheila, when it comes to other professional sports, you have some clients from the NBA, from the Major League Baseball League as well. Tell us about those clients.
Yeah, I had a pro soccer player come to me. I was so excited, because I don't follow pro soccer, and I'm super short, so I don't follow NBA, and I really don't follow baseball. So it cracks me up when they find me. And I got to work with the NBA in Vegas at their national meetings. I got to work with a bunch of the retired players. Oh man, what an opportunity! It was so fun. What an honor. So I work with a batch of pro players, and the group kind of keeps getting bigger and bigger. Although a couple made me sign an NDA that I can't tell you who I'm working with. But boy, are they
Wow,
having
wow.
great! They're having great seasons. So as you're watching some pro sports teams, you'll be like, "Wow, that player's really gotten good."
Okay.
It
Right.
was me. Okay, I can't take credit for all of it, but yeah, but so like it is really cool, to see that. But the also the big news, although I can't tell you the name of the company yet, I need another 30 days. Okay, we'll post it in the post notes. Okay, but there's a major fitness company that's teaming up with me here in the United States. A lot of locations, a lot of members. So the products will all be coming to the general public already starting in like the next 30 days for the grand opening. So I'll
Well,
tell you who the company is.
you could you could probably put that together, which fitness is. There's a lot of them, but there's only a couple of them. You can count them on your hands. That's real big. Like
It's a
I
big
kind
one.
of remember it, but I don't think.
It's a big one. So yeah, I'm super excited. Yeah. So their CEO came to train with me. It's taken like a year to roll this out, but it's a really big deal. And it's really fun to see the other companies joining in on it. It's us, it's NeuroTracker and Dynavision and Maverick. So there's a bunch of neuro companies all kind of coming together to team up in these new neuro labs. Really, to be honest, we're just as excited to bring it to the general public, but we're just as excited to bring it to some school districts too. So,
Right.
school districts and kids and neuro rooms is really the future for all of our population.
Got a couple of comments for you, Sheila.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. We need to get up to Penn State to work with the wrestlers. Yes, I would love that. Oh yeah, it's so true. It's so true. So, yeah, I actually have done a lot in Virginia. It's a great. I actually got to go on base, which was really fun. Um, for Quantico, like I have to go on base. Just as a side note, it takes 2 hours from the point you get to the visitor center till you're actually in the building.
Wow.
So I learned a lot about gate passes in the military. It's she's a slow roll, like don't be in a rush, so I really learned a lot. Every project I do I learn something from, but I've really been schooled fast on the processes of the military.
Hmm. Speaking of the military, you said that you had some wonderful results with people that suffer from trauma.
Yeah, it's like the key part is of course going back to sleep, because of course when you're not sleeping, boy, do you the anxiety comes up, the manic, the depression. It's for sure it's all tied to sleep. In the same sense, when you talk about concussions and blast concussions, they need they need to be cleared. They need time. They need time to heal. Um, it's it's really important, and even when I look at like the homeless population, and I'm not talking about a single mom down on her luck. I'm talking about just a generalized, population. I mean, when you're talking about addiction and you're talking about people really with untreated brain injuries,
Mhm.
are really what you're seeing in that population. That the concussions need to be cared for before they manifest into like a lost life on multiple levels. So yeah, we're honored to do a lot of work in that population, and really hope to do more and more and more as we come out to more of the general public.
Awesome. So Sheila, we're definitely going to have you come back to tell us more about that fitness industry deal that you have coming up.
So excited. Ooh, killing me. It's killing me not to tell everyone. My family's so sick of me because this is all I'll talk about. My family's like, shut up. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't. I'm so excited, so but that's the fun part of having James come out and try the gear. It's just getting more and more people on the gear that because I think when people look at the spinning platforms, they assume it's like a vertigo feeling. That you get sick or it's gross or you're super dizzy from it. And really that's not the feeling at all. The feeling is more of an alertness, like a spidey sense, like a super focus. It's really everyone comes off it with different impressions, but nobody gets sick. Like is that the whole point is that the trainer is sensitive to that, and that doesn't happen. But it's just like any other training. Like it starts out slow, and I compare it to bench press. Like you don't start at 300 pounds. You start with the
Right.
bar. You get good technique. You work your way up, just like you would in any sports training process. But this is the same thing that you start out slow on that gear. It starts out slow, and you just keep progressing faster and faster and faster as your brain can really manage the chaos and the data and all the information coming in. It's really how you train a brain, especially with the fly system. When you see that fly system, and especially my girls go right up into that fly and just spin like crazy. It's fascinating because that's like the chaos training, and I think that's where the pro sports teams really saw that factor in training with me, much less the military cops. I work with some elite shooters here in the
Mhm.
Twin Cities. Same thing that it was that chaos training that they were very interested in, to be able to manage the chaos and not get lost in the chaos.
So anybody can do this. You don't have to be a super athlete or a Navy SEAL to do this.
No, and my favorite. Okay, you're gonna laugh. I put my mom on the gear. So I put my 78-year-old mom on the gear. and she's really improved her balance, so she went on like a Viking riverboat cruise. She's been to Alaska on the boats, like my mom is seeing the world. uh and is really, as a not active person, like she'd rather sit and cross stitch all day. Like my mom is not active, but in doing this balance work, she is able to stay active as not that active of person. Does that make sense? Like, she's really, she's not a big walker or trainer, like, and she's doing really well. And, it's that 5, 6, 7 minutes of gentle spinning, that we stop and we pause and we rest and we change directions. And it's fun. And that's the key of keeping that brain moving.
Right. One thing I found that was real fascinating that you break a sweat.
Mhm.
You do.
You break a sweat. Yeah, there was a couple of us in there sweating. Even I was sweating. And I ain't doing anything physical. I just turned.
So what?
It was cool. It was cool in the facility too. It was cool. It was cool. So it was really interesting for that to be happening. I knew that things were working. That's how I knew things were working.
Right. So the weird part is, so as I get you spinning, especially the first couple times, your brain is a little bit fight or flight. Okay, like, and there's a little bit of panic in there that you're like, this girl's trying to kill me. Yeah, I mean, like, holy gods, that small woman is trying to kill me. We should panic. So like people do, they'll break out in a sweat. One of the jiu-jitsu kids who flips and twists, I overspun him a little bit. Like, but he was young. I didn't think I'd overspun him. And I did. I overspun the kid. The kid came out of it, and I'm like, oh God, don't pass out on me. I mean, like he, it was hard. It was hard on that kid that day. Do you remember him, James? Yeah, like that kid was like laying on the floor for a while. But he
Wow.
went on to have the poor kid went on to like sleep 12 hours that night, and the next day talked about he had the best workout of his life. Um, like these are the pieces that it's a training process, and the goal is to make it a gentle process, and how they do it. But sometimes, man, I can stress you out.
The thing you gotta like about it is that you can pull around like 100 miles an hour and won't be big. That's like like when I play with my grandkids, I pull them around and I let them walk, man. They falling all over the place. It's unbelievable though.
I know, but it's fun. That's how the brain should be, flip and twist and turn and topple. And I always talk about, especially my ADHD kids, like how they should have grown up in prehistoric times. Is you and your son, the men would stand there shoulder to shoulder and plan on how to take down the mastodon. That's how you and your son would have been for the village, like, versus sit on your butt in class, have someone talk to you all day long and take a bunch of paper cuts, or look at a screen all day. Like that isn't how humans are supposed to be. That,
Yeah.
that-
It's not, it's not healthy. Like you said, back in the day, we was always outside playing. You know what I'm saying? All playing all the games, relay races, the whole nine active. Nowadays, they don't get that much action. You got to force people outside. You know.
like, look at a kid these days. Like, just stand there at an airport. Kids are just glued. And it's not healthy. And we all know it. We know this as a society. We absolutely know it. It
Yeah.
it's we become a lazy society because these kids, it shut them up, you know versus having kids be active at dinner and talking to their parents and their grandparents and sitting there eating broccoli and complaining about it. You know what I mean? Like kids kids aren't participating in lives and families anymore. And
Right.
that's a part of society we've really hurt our children by that.
Yes, I believe. I believe.
Yeah. When it comes to mental health, Sheila, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. Is that when it comes to suicide and affecting kids the way it is nowadays, it's going to get actually worse. It's not going to get better. What are some of the things that you suggest that kids do?
I want kids to do sports. I want them to be active. I want them running around. I don't want them on an iPad. I want them playing crazy, uh, go break a wrist, kid, like run around. Remember those spinning, big silver spinning discs they had out on the playground? You know,
Yeah.
and we had one kid named Joey that would push it and we go flying off of it. And oh my, it was the best time ever. Broke my wrist. Best thing ever as a kid. Like it was so fun. And they took them out because like enough kids broke their wrist or cracked. And so then like playgrounds aren't as fun as they used to be. But like I have a whole thing on we've bubble packed the world and these kids aren't doing enough and we're not as a society moving enough and running and playing and moving, in general. And kids need to run unsupervised and play and run and be active. And Scott just commented on unstructured play for kids. Absolutely. Like parents hover but then the parents hover, but then the kids don't do anything because, it's just not enough. And we as a society just have to, boy, how about 2 or 3 or 4 recesses a day? The kids have to run and play and be a little Lord of the Flies, like all of those things are really important for kids that they're just not getting that anymore. And so they look to, there's an answer on Google. My daughter was driving one night, is late. She's on kind of a back road, and there's a dog. And she's like, what do I do? And there wasn't a Google answer on what to do when you found a stray dog. You know what I mean? So we joke she abducted the dog, brought it home. And I'm like, what are you doing? So we had to use the famous Mike Wazowski line, from Monsters Inc. Put that thing back where you found it. So help me. So yeah, so like, these are all pieces that, you know, kids need to go find some answers for themselves.
Absolutely. Sheila, I wish we could continue this conversation, but we got to wrap it up. Do you have any last words for our guests as far as wisdom or
Uh,
anything that they can use in order to improve their lives?
I don't know how much wisdom I have other than I'm obsessed with outcomes. I'm really not obsessed with the money in any way, shape, or form. I'm obsessed with the outcomes. And that's all I want to talk about. But it's finding what you love and being really passionate about it. And Jason and I talked about earlier too, transitioning from athlete to coach or maybe not coaching and how to get into like different parts of your life um, is really finding what you care about and really running forward uh, like a rhinoceros. Like pick something and really run with it and go nuts, with finding that outcome that that is what we're all about. I've worked with so many kids, like 500,000 kids worldwide, and boy, that's still a part that I really care about. But I look at all these projects that all of us can change the world around us and not sound like an idiot for saying that. But to go forth and change the world is I think really important goals that are being lost because it sounds like it's too much and it's not. It's not too much to go change the world. Let's all go do it together.
Amen on that. That's a good word. So, Sheila, how can people find you? How can they work with you?
So I'm big on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I'm obsessed with LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. So I'm all over LinkedIn. Of course, the company Vestibular Training Services is on Facebook and Instagram. We kind of don't put a lot of effort into that. Our efforts are more on LinkedIn, just because of leadership and the projects that we do. We also like it's the good old website spinyourbrain.com. We we're really good about emails. We really try and stay on top of it. But someone from our team will track you down and help you with whatever your process is. Ultimately, I feel like our goal is we're a manufacturing company that gets the products into really great leadership's hands, and that one unit can help 1,000 people. So whether you're a teacher or a trainer or a PT or an OT or a doctor or a concussion specialist or a PTSD specialist, uh, autism specialist, all of those people, all of those coaches and trainers and leadership, really one unit could help so many people. So contact us. We're here to help.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being on the show. We'll have to have you back after the first of the year.
And my dog.
He wants to go for the spin.
Yeah, we love Newfoundland. So yeah, so train with me and my dog. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Sheila.
Thank
All right,
you.
thanks, Sheila. Thanks for coming back.
Thank you. Come train with me.
Definitely, I think I'm coming.
Take care.
Thanks for watching Living on Purpose podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Hit the subscribe button as well. See you next week.